Hi everyone, welcome to DOdaily, Monday Motivation. It's Des here, looking to kickstart a brand new week, looking to offer some inspiration and hopefully motivate myself and you guys looking in to have the best possible one we can. Feeling really good today. I'm out on Bank Holiday Monday, beautiful day down by the River Trent, absolutely stunning. Thankfully, I've had good opportunity to make the most of it. Of course, I like to never miss a Monday in terms of getting in plenty of activity. And whilst I'm still injured, I've managed to do what I can. Actually had a coaching session, putting the guys through the paces this afternoon, running boot camp. Moved that forward slightly, making the most of time. So I was out and about encouraging those, drawing a lot from it myself, thinking about how I can be a little bit better going forward when I do recover. But I'm out now, just getting in some extra steps, a bit of a walk, and like I say, just making the most of an absolutely beautiful day. It's not red hot today, but it is really nice to be out. It's quite cool, but again, it's just cool enough to clear the mind, to process another absolutely fantastic weekend. And I'll come to that shortly. It's really important. Doing much of what I always do, I'll be infusing about the things I always infuse about, but with a slightly different slant on it. After last week and coming out of the weekend feeling really good again, I'm so glad to almost be in exactly the same place. One or two things have not quite worked out, but again, this is what DOdaily is about, isn't it? Just trying to figure it all out, trying to right any wrongs, and as I say, make the most of all the things we enjoy and just make the most of another week and a chance to go again. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. Hopefully you've enjoyed the extra day if you've got that luxury of having it. Hopefully you're looking forward to doing whatever you can to make this week a good one for you too. What I will say before I go any further, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. You might wonder what I'm doing. Just a daily vlog of explaining how I go about my business and trying to be open and candid and realistic about how sometimes we can not have great feelings and we can turn them around, or we can just continue good spirit as I'm hoping to do, as I've mentioned already. It all makes sense if you watch a few of these. Different slant every day, the different motivations. Of course, Monday motivation today, Tuesday training, I look to build on any activity I can get in. Wednesday workout, more activity to really attack the week, and then we start sort of reflecting with Thursday thoughts. A chance for you to pose any questions to me about the things I've said, about activity, about running, walking, absolutely anything, mental health, the things I tend to talk about, the things that keep me ticking. So like I say, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and please give a thumbs up to this episode. Just help me in the smallest way. It'll help me sort of try and progress the channel. It works on the algorithms and shares it around, so I'd really appreciate that if you're looking in. Ever so grateful for those that do support the channel unconditionally. I appreciate it's quite small sometimes because I talk about the things I do. People can get a little bit put off, but like I say, all this is real, raw, honest. Nothing to feel uncomfortable about when you say the words mental health, encouragement, empowerment, self-development. People tend to get their backs up a little bit, but it's not like that at all. Like I say, I use myself as the example of just how I go about my business to make sure that I enjoy what I do, because a positive outlook is the best outlook to have, believe me. I've experienced enough in my time of feeling negative and downbeat about life and situations that have been forced upon me. Felt sorry for myself and uncomfortable and not knowing where things are going to change going forward. So these days, last couple of years, started long before COVID for me. Hopefully it's not too windy and it's not affecting the output too much, but it started long before COVID. But COVID was a real eye-opener as well. I made a decision just to be a lot happier about myself, and I kind of understood that we only really get one chance. That all came off being a little bit poorly, then taking up running and doing what I do. So here I am today, feeling I can try to make a little bit of a difference. A friend took his own life, and again, that was the big inspiration behind trying to help other people and ensure that if I possibly can, if I can do anything to support and encourage positive well-being, then that's what I'm going to do. That's what the channel's all about. And of course, I've already said it, but Mondays are all about getting things off to a flyer and being really positive. Looking at what's worked and looking what we can take forward and looking what we have to leave behind. And for me, again, it's been an absolutely brilliant weekend. I've already said that, but I spoke about this a lot last Monday. Going into it was a little bit uneasy. I wouldn't say I was in a bad mood or bad place or anything particularly bad had happened, but just sort of life sometimes gives us the jitters a little bit, doesn't it? One or two situations, sometimes what people say, sometimes what happens at work or what you might see in the news, it can just sort of just dislodges from a good place. And I guess as the week before it started happening, last week I used Forest surviving in the Premier League, one of my real hobbies, not something I talk too much about. It of course comes in because I am a massive Forest fan. It's not something I talk too much about, but I used that last week because it was such an occasion over at the world famous City Ground. I'm actually looking at it over the top of the camera now. It was such an occasion that I got so much fun spending time with friends, being part of all the excitement, enjoyment, positive vibes. It just really picked me up again after sort of moping about a little bit over my injuries, because I always talk about how much I use running, but that's not working, so I had to find something else. And last week it really helped me sort of get on top of those negative feelings and the fact that winning will come, and when it does, I need it to assist a good frame of mind, not to be dragging me out of a place. It's good when it does that, don't get me wrong, but if I'm already good, it's fantastic for me to use it to really sort of push on and start thriving with my mindset and doing the things I want to do. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying there. But this week it's been pretty similar. Again, I'll refer to the football and how much that's put me in a good mood, but I spoke about right at the start the different take on it. Last week it was all about surviving in that relegation battle, and it meant everything as a football fan. I appreciate there's those out there might think it doesn't, but as a football fan it meant absolutely everything. The win was so important. This weekend Forest didn't have to win, and of course we've struggled on the road. I've been to every away game this season, something I've enjoyed ticking off, something I've never done before, so that's a nice sort of personal achievement. I love travelling, love getting in the car. I tie park runs in with this, I tie in other like weekend trips and holidays and things with Kay. I've got lots of memories to share from going away this season, and of course when you can tick them all off, that's great. But going to Crystal Palace this weekend, we didn't even have to win. And to be honest, of course I want Forest to win every game. That's why I'm a supporter, that's why I invest my time, effort, energy, money into these things, and I've not got much of some of those sometimes, so it's really important to see them win. But on this occasion it didn't really matter. They'd already survived last week, the big occasion here at the City Ground, the fantastic atmosphere, so we went there and it was almost like a party. But I touched on the fact earlier, it's a chance where you get to see your friends, people who enjoy similar things, who thrive off all that excitement and anticipation inside a football ground. And when the Forest fans got there, it was just a real party occasion. They use a term in football, on the beach, when teams have got nothing to play for, when it's the end of the season, and of course players probably don't want to get injured and want to get away on the holidays without spending time on the treatment table. So it was a bit of a damn squid in that sense. But going to it knowing that, meant we could really let ourselves go, really enjoy ourselves as football fans. And it was probably the best atmosphere I've ever been in at an away game. And again, the last one of the season, when it doesn't really matter, when you think, some people might think, I'm not doing that, it doesn't really matter now. But for me, it was so important just to go and feel relaxed. The Premier League this season has been tough. That's a perfect metaphor for life. It's up and down, it's 100 miles an hour at times. So watching it, even though I kind of thrive off those emotions, the ups, the downs, we're creatures of habit at the end of the day. It's what keeps us going. It'd be boring if it was all the same, but the ups, the downs, that's what being a football fan is about. I don't know how me personally could live without those feelings, those emotions. But yesterday, just for once, after all the travelling up and down the country, all the games here Trent side, they seem to have come thick and fast. It seems to have been a long season, even though they don't play as many games in the Premier League. Just feeling a little bit tired with it. Not tired because in no way tired with it, because in 2 weeks I'll be moaning that it's finished and it's all over. But to have the chance to go somewhere else, have some fun, be around people, all that positive energy. The Forest fans sung for 90 minutes. Singing is a great way of releasing some emotion and feeling, isn't it? And it makes us all feel happy. It puts a smile on our face. Some quirky songs, make us all laugh, and then the send-off that the fans gave to the players and the players gave to the fans, it's created a real feel good around the club again. And whilst to say football can be the Premier League can be a metaphor for life, football can as well. Sometimes as a football fan we let things get to us a little bit too much, so it can kind of mirror what we're actually feeling. And in many ways I feel that's where it's kind of been, because I invest so much time and effort, and I put so much into it. I deliver other content around football and what I do. It can almost mirror the way I am. And I feel in the last few weeks, when Forest have picked up, I was probably sulking about myself before that. The injury that's been lingering around for a while now, I can't really get going again. But when Forest got going, all of a sudden I've got going, because I've surrounded myself with plenty of energy. So I guess what I'm saying here, guys, is surround yourself with as much energy as you can. Make the absolute most of people, situations, the things you love. Take it into the new week. I've done the work with the guys today, even though I wasn't involved. I'm out now. Myself and Kay are gonna sort of settle in for the evening, enjoy the final bit of the bank holiday weekend, and then it's hard at it again. But again, I'm looking forward to that. I don't dread the Monday morning, or in this case a Tuesday morning, to kickstart everything and to get set about what I need to do. We have to embrace absolutely everything that's thrown at us, and if you find a positive like I have from the fact Forest had nothing to play for, and it just felt like a little bit of weight off the shoulders. I know I spoke a lot about football there, despite the fact I'm talking about the general feeling it creates, and people, and I said I wouldn't, but I did, because it's a great way to look at it. I think for myself personally, is just to realise that we can get something, even if the situation changes, even if things don't go swimmingly well. It's been a struggle this season in the Premier League, and then they get to a point where you could think, well, it doesn't really matter now, but it always matters, doesn't it? Because whatever we put our positive energy into gives us some positive energy back, gives us good feeling, good spirit, and plenty to look forward to. Of course, there's no football to go on about for the foreseeable future. I'll be slightly over in that direction. You can just about see the floodlights there. At the cricket, a lot more relaxed and sedate, but equally I'll be finding the positives from that. What it will do is give me a chance just to calm down a little bit before it starts all over again. And again, that's just life, isn't it? It has its ups and downs. We experience things in different ways and make the most of them however we need to. And that's what going into a new week's all about. Find exactly what you can from the weekend. For me, it was that. After going into it again, just with that good spirit, just starting to wane. Actually, had a few, if I'm really honest, I had a few drinks on Friday night at the cricket. You know, despite I'm saying I'm going to relax, probably a few too many, and I felt a little bit anxious and a little bit I was hungover. I felt a little bit anxious as well when the hangover had wore off. So I realised that perhaps one or two changes around the way I approach that. You know, and again, I'm not beating myself up. I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do. But in this case, I didn't like the anxiety. So the next one at the cricket will be a much more relaxed feeling. That's tomorrow, incidentally. So again, I've got plenty to really take into the week, plenty to look forward to, and just realise that I can make the most of it in a different way. I think there's been a couple of good examples here. Like I said, I didn't really want to talk about football or sport in that way, but as we go into a brand new week, you know, so much to look forward to, so much to be happy about, so much to be content about. You know, one or two things will get to you, will get to me. You know, I'm wondering how I kickstart my running, you know, how I do this, that and the other to make it happen, to make life that little bit more comfortable. But if you can talk about it, if you can express it like I have, I'm not saying go and do a YouTube channel. Communication is key, and like I say, spending your time around people. What I realised at the weekend as well, one last thing on that football, was probably won't see some of those guys for a couple of months. So again, we had to have that party atmosphere, we had to have that feeling, and that's a great way to sort of sign off for the season at the football, sign off for the weekend, but also sign off here. It's just about enjoying absolutely whatever you can. Remember what's worked, remember that feeling. As I was starting to flag at the end of last week, you know, thankfully it all kicked back in at the weekend and I started to feel much better about what I was doing. And if you can sort of bear that in mind, you're giving yourself every chance. I'm gonna walk a little bit more before getting back, so hopefully you have a fantastic week, you enjoy what you've got to do, and hopefully you tune in to Do Daily. Once again, a quick shout out, if you're new, please do subscribe, please like this episode. Forgot there. Please like the episode. This is the bit I normally forget, in all honesty. It's quite important when you do a YouTube channel, but please like, I'd really appreciate that. What I'm going to do is post some of those pictures from the weekend of me enjoying myself, and hopefully it just adds something to what I've already said. Have a fantastic last bit of the bank holiday, guys. If you can, get out for a walk, get this last bit of daylight, and I promise you'll feel even better just doing it.